Zelda. Hi, I'm Jennifer Berry, and today I'm going to make my Anyday tacos. So if you're like me, when you were growing up, these are the tacos that you ate. They are crispy shell, ground beef, not too spicy, cheese, iceberg lettuce, and some salsa. I'm gonna start by making my own salsa today. So I'm gonna do what I like to call a pantry salsa. A lot of times we have these ingredients in our pantries, in our refrigerators, and in the dead of winter when tomatoes are not fantastic, this is a great salsa to make. So I just wanna strain my whole canned tomatoes just to get some of that liquid off, because I'm just gonna roast the whole tomatoes. And I forgot to get a cookie sheet. I'm gonna go ahead and just get the whole tomatoes onto my cookie sheet. I'm gonna spread those out just a little bit. And I'm gonna put these under the broiler in my oven. While my tomatoes are roasting in the oven, I'm gonna go ahead and get half of a white onion. And I'm actually gonna cut this in half again so I can get a little bit of char on more than one side. And I'm gonna throw this, I've got my griddle over here, my onion on here. I'm also going to put one whole jalapeno cut in half, cut side down with that char. And I'm gonna cut a lime in half, and I'm gonna get that on here as well. So I'm just trying to get some flavor going. And this is gonna just stay on here, it's gonna char. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. And then while that is working, I'm gonna make a cilantro-lime sour cream. Hi, Zelda. There she is. Okay. So in my food processor, I'm using the small bowl. I have a food processor that has a couple different bowl sizes. I'm gonna get a container of sour cream. And I just kind of like to have a fancy, fun sour cream for my tacos. These are easy, quick tacos to make, and so I like to kind of fancy it up just a little bit. And I love cilantro. So I'm gonna get a good amount, a good handful of cilantro in here, and I'm gonna use leaves and stems, and I'm just gonna kind of chop it up just to give my food processor a little bit easier of a time. And I need a little bit of garlic. Just get the peel off and get that in. And then I need some salt and pepper and some lime juice. So we need to season everything. I might like a little more salt than most people, but season, taste, adjust. Acid also hits those same places on your tongue that salt hits, and so sometimes you might just need a little bit more lime juice or a little bit more acid. So I'm gonna go in with half of my lime to start, and then I'll taste it and see if it needs a little bit more. So I'm just gonna pulse it just to get it going. I might need to use my rubber spatula. And I kind of want this to be pretty smooth. I don't want big chunks of cilantro in this. Okay, let's check that. Should have a nice green tinge to it. It's gonna have a really nice cilantro-y flavor. Okay, I'm coming over here. I'm just gonna tip these over so it can char the other side. I'm gonna check my limes. I'm gonna pull these limes off. Those look perfect. Peppers in here a little bit more. Okay, back to my cilantro sour cream. I'm just gonna process this for another few seconds. All right, I think that's good. Let's taste it. I'm just gonna dip my pinky in here because this is for my family. That's good. Okay. Nice and tangy, nice and bright. I'm gonna get this into a bowl. And then get all of this goodness out here. I always think about this chef I had in culinary school who was constantly pounding into us, don't leave any bit in the bottom of your bowl. That 2%, that's your 2% profit that you're losing. It's your lost profit. Come back over here. I'm gonna pull these off. These are gorgeous. Jalapeno. Beautiful. So while we're waiting for our tomatoes, I'm gonna get my other cast iron. I love to use cast iron for browning beef and for tacos. It gets really hot, I get a nice sear. I have a giant cast iron pan here that I can fit all of my ground beef in. All right, so I'm gonna add a little bit of oil into my pan just to help the meat get started. It is pretty fatty. This is 85-15 meat. I'm just gonna kind of drop it in here. I like a little bit fattier ground meat. And then I just wanna break this up. And then I really want to let this meat just sit in contact with the hot cast iron skillet and really develop a crust and get some browning on it. It's gonna give us some really good flavor. And then while this is browning and smoking us out a little bit, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna go ahead and chop up an onion and get some garlic going for it. So I'm also going to get some garlic going. Okay, it's almost there. It's not cooked all the way through yet, and that's okay because it's gonna finish cooking in the liquid. And I'm gonna go ahead and get my onions into my pan. I'm gonna throw onions all over my stovetop. It happens. I do it all the time. Also going to start working on seasoning. I haven't seasoned anything yet. I like to hold off when I am browning meat because the salt will inhibit that browning a little bit. Most people will say to plan on about a teaspoon of kosher salt per pound of meat. I like it a little bit heavier than that. So I'm gonna go, I have 2 pounds of meat. I'm gonna go with 3 teaspoons of salt. I'm gonna go with a good amount of fresh cracked pepper, and I'm gonna make it a little bit coarser grind so I get some nice bits of black pepper in there. So now I want to add my spices at this point because I want them to cook a little bit. I want to bloom them before I add any liquid. If I just added all my liquid and then threw my spices in, I would end up having some kind of raw tasting spiced ingredient, and I want my spices to get toasted a little bit. So I'm gonna go with 3 sort of heaping tablespoons of my chili powder, a good heaping tablespoon of cumin. I love cumin. Again, it's that smoky earthiness that we're gonna get from it. I like a lot of cumin in my taco meat. I want heaping teaspoon of thyme and a heaping teaspoon of dried oregano. You can adjust your seasoning spice to what you like. Sometimes if I am making this for just 4 of us, I might make this spicier. If all 6 of us are going to be around, I make it a little bit milder because not everyone enjoys really, really spiciness.
Weakness,
I know.
Sorry, what?
But we always have hot sauce, we always have spicy salsas, we always have fresh spicy chilies that we can put on it. And I'm just going to toss this around, let it cook a little bit. Let my spices bloom. Sort of a controversial ingredient in my mind for me. You will not see me using ketchup very often, but I do occasionally use this as an ingredient. And I used to make taco meat with tomato paste and different seasonings, and I put a little bit of honey or sugar in it to sweeten it up just a tiny bit, balance the flavors. And then one time I was making taco meat and I didn't have any, and all I had was ketchup, and I used the ketchup and it was perfect. And I haven't looked back, and I just go with it. So I use about a 1/4 cup, okay? 1/4 cup of ketchup. I'm not gonna feel bad about it. A good amount of Worcestershire sauce. This is some fancy stuff that we get at the store. I'm gonna let my ketchup cook just a minute, just like I would if it was tomato paste. I love to use a light beer in taco meat, in chili, in any like Southwest sort of cuisine, Tex-Mex cuisine. So I'm gonna use a little bit of light beer. We usually have some that we need to use up. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of water to this, because I want this to sort of simmer and reduce while I get all of my rest of my ingredients ready. Okay, so probably about a half a cup to a cup of water. This is going to reduce down and not be this liquidy, but I want this to sort of simmer and braise, and that reduction is going to help with flavor. All right, so while this is simmering, I'm going to turn this down to almost low, let it go. I'm going to come back, get my tomatoes out from under the broiler, and finish our salsa, and then get our toppings all ready to go. All right, I'm gonna get the rest of the tomato product in here. I'm just gonna help the food processor out just a little bit. And the limes are gonna go in as well. Okay, let's taste this. Oh, it's spicy, tangy, tiny bit more salt. It's good. All right, my meat is going, my salsa's done, I have my cilantro-lime crema done, and my tortillas are just waiting to go in the oven. I'm gonna go ahead and get my toppings all ready to go, and then we're gonna finish up. So I'm gonna slice up some Fresnos. We like some fresh hot chili on top of our tacos, just to, I mean, you just can't have enough heat, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna do some slices of my white onion. Two more things, cilantro. All right, I have my toppings ready to go. I just need to grate my cheese. I don't like to buy pre-grated cheese. It's usually coated with some sort of cornstarch or something starchy. Definitely not if you're gonna want to melt it. It does not melt very well. Okay, I'm gonna throw the shells in the oven. Okay, it's been in about 5 minutes. They're starting to get a little toasty on top. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of cheese in the bottom. And I'll stand them back up when I'm all done. And back into my oven, just until the cheese melts. Our cheese is melty. Okay, I'm gonna fill each one with some meat. In my world, meat goes next. I don't want too much. I don't want to overfill them because everything comes falling out, which I always overfill them anyway. But my goal is to not overfill them. Don't worry. If it falls out, you just pick it up and eat it with your fingers, right? I'm gonna let everyone do their own salsa because it's pretty spicy. Let's go lettuce first. A little lettuce. I like lettuce. Some of you might be wondering where the chopped tomato is. It is February. Tomatoes are not in season. All right. So now I think they need a little bit of onion. And I really like white onion for this. You could do red onion. You could just do a regular old yellow onion. I think white has a nice bite, sassiness to it. Okay, cilantro. It's pretty. It adds more cilantro-y flavor. And I just do a couple sprigs on each one. And then, of course, some Fresnos. I think Fresnos are really pretty. If you just had jalapeno, you could definitely use jalapeno. Serrano has a really nice fruity heat that is lovely. You do you. A little more cilantro sour cream on top. A little Jackson Pollocky. How's that?
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. I like things that rain. These are my Anyday tacos. Try them. Oh, sorry, God.
What are you barking about, huh?